Christina and I would probably agree, except that we describe it differently. Women didn't get to invent a new kind of world of work. They entered the world of work that had been created according to masculine patterns of behavior. Now, all sorts of people are going to get cross if I say this, but men are quite happy to be outside the family. They're quite happy not to see their kids for most of the day. They're quite happy to be around other men. And they also understand the corporate structure, the infighting, the gang formation, the conspiracies in the men's room, and then all their other weird rituals.
And this is all about men, it's not just about human nature, is it? This is all men's nature rather than human nature.
Well, ask women who've had to endure it. Women go into that culture. Now, we've got to be careful about how we put this, but if you think about what we've learnt about the stock exchange, about the rituals and ordeals they put each other through, the strange games they play, there's no way that women can enter that. If you even think about...
If I may stop you, there is a way they can enter that in certain countries now. I just wonder what you think of Norway, for example, where they now have laws which say that 40% of boardroom directorship should go to women. They've had that in place for several years. What one recent survey has shown is that actually the performance of companies where those targets have been met has, in many cases, dropped off rather than improved.
It depends what you think their targets should have been. And it depends who you're reading.
Do you believe in quotas for women in boardrooms, for example?
No, I don't.
Why not?
Because you could end up with 4 Mrs. Thatchers. You wouldn't really get a change in the basic politics. I mean, this is the whole point, really, that women have... Equality is not my game. I don't do equality. I don't think having a seat on the board of General Motors is a life. If you want to go for that life, then you'll be a General Motors person, because General Motors will change you before you'll change General Motors. The interesting thing...
This is where you sound more like Germaine Greer, the anarchist and the revolutionary, rather than the feminist. Would you agree with that? Because you've always described yourself as an anarchist.
What makes you think that anarchist, revolutionary and feminist are contradictory terms?
Oh, well, I don't think they are, but I think there's a set of priorities.
Well, you got it just about right. That's what I would say.
No, but it's a question of where you put your priorities. Now, when you're talking about you don't believe it's right for anybody to want to be in the boardroom of General Motors, that isn't a point about women, is it? It's a point about capitalism or the way society is organised.
But we have all... Well, it depends what kind... Feminism is a very broad church. It's a whole... bunch of ideas. There are people who think you could be a Republican in America and still be a feminist. I don't think that, but there are plenty of people who do think that, and who think that putting more women into the Congress would make a difference to American foreign policy, for example. I think that's extremely unlikely, because they'd never get there if they look like making a genuine difference. Because the corporate world and its attendant institutions impose their blueprint on the people they groom for positions within the power structure. If we're talking about totally changing the power structure, then we're miles away. They're centuries away from it happening.
We have to end in a moment. I want to end with that thought, in a sense, and just ask you this very basic question. It's 40 years on from writing this book. Are you disappointed with the distance that has been travelled since you wrote it? No.
I get too many letters accusing me of having destroyed the family to feel in the least disappointed.
Because you regard that as an achievement.
I hope so, but it wasn't me. I didn't do it. They did it. The women did it.
But you're delighted it's happened?
No, delighted is a funny word, because I think women's lives are incredibly hard now. Really, really difficult. But they're getting stronger, and they're getting smarter, and they're getting meaner. And we're actually getting to the point where you might see some real, fundamental, underlying change. We have to start thinking in completely new ways about how to deal with climate change, how to deal with ideological conflict, and so on.
Germaine Greer, we have to end there, but thank you very much for being on Hard Talk. Thank you.
Thank you.